What's going on YouTube? Lil Unc back again with another reaction. Today we got NBA legends and players explain how special college Michael Jordan was. The last Michael Jordan reaction will be at the end of the video. Stay tuned for that. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. Make sure you like the video, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you want me to react to next. Turn on post notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Lil Unc Official. Link in the description, man. And without further introduction, my Modell's affiliate link is also in the description. If you're looking to shop at Modell's, man, use my link. We greatly appreciate it, and it'll help your boy out. Shout out to whoever sent the super thanks, man. Comment down below. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. Without further introduction now, man, let's get into it.
So we've seen NBA legends and players talk about how dominant Michael Jordan was with the Chicago Bulls. I even made a video where they talk about how underrated he was during his Washington Wizards years. So I said to myself, why not go back where he started to blossom, from Michael Jordan to Air Jordan. I compiled some NBA legends that watch or play with them, and I also put some of his college teammates and legendary college coaches to show that he was already a legend in the making. So enjoy the video, man.
His athleticism. He was in Carolina, and they were running, I forget, 100 or 40-yard dives. And he ran some spectacular number. And the late Dean Smith, who was a really good friend of mine, and also Roy Williams, who just retired at North Carolina, we were all close. And they were talking about him, I think it was running 100 or something like that. He ran at some spectacular time.
Wow.
And one of the coaches said something to him differently. And he said, oh, I can do better than that.
Wow.
He went out at 0.2 of a second faster.
Wow.
And like vertical jump means a lot, but it means a lot to the ones who have skill.
Right.
Some guys jump quickly. Some guys have to wind up.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan was like
A cat.
Well, I remember recruiting Michael Jordan. I remember him coming in on a weekend, the football weekend, and I was down in my room at the end of the hall, and the elevator doors opened up. And all I could hear was this big mouth, and it was Michael Jordan. And he was like, yeah, this is gonna be my hall. I'm taking over this dorm. And I was like, he's still in high school. You know, he's still in high school. And I was like, who is this guy? And I never thought he was arrogant, but that he was full of confidence. Yeah. And I was better than Michael Jordan for about 3 weeks. First 3 weeks of practice, and I saw some things in him, Twan, that I mean, he dunked on Sam Perkins and I one time, and I still know how he did it, but I saw him in the raw. And most of us were kind of in the raw when we came to Coach Smith, and he either slowed you down or he either enhanced your game throughout his theory. But Michael was an incredible freshman, and you know, one of the rare moments that he was able to start. Phil Ford, myself, and Michael, I think, was the third freshman to ever start. So he was a competitor. I mean, the guy didn't like to lose in anything. You could play him in a game of backgammon, a game of cards, and he would be emotionally upset if he lost. And so I knew he was going to be an all-star, but I didn't know he was going to be possibly the best player ever played. Never.
In Chapel Hill at a place called Woolen Gym. And we were the #1 ranked recruiting class, and we went over to Chapel Hill to play. And after playing against Jordan and those guys, we were kind of looking at ourselves, going, I don't know if this is gonna this might not have been a good decision. And then like people would say, hey, did you know in college that Jordan was going to be great? Like, yeah, we did, we knew. When you played against him and Len Bias and Ralph Sampson, you're kind of going, all right, whoever said all men are created equal, that's BS. Like, that's just not true.
Let me let you in on a little bit of a secret here. Most online
We don't need your secrets, my boy. I appreciate you, though.
The kid is just an absolutely great kid. If I were going to pick the 3 or 4 best athletes I've ever seen play basketball, he'd be one of them. I think he's the best athlete I've ever seen play basketball, bar none. If I were going to pick people with the best ability I'd ever seen play the game, he'd be one of them. If I were going to pick the best competitors that I'd ever seen play, he'd be one of them. So in the categories of competitiveness, ability, skill, and then athletic ability, he's the best athlete, he's one of the best competitors, he's one of the most skilled players. And that, to me, makes him the best basketball player that I've ever seen play.
Do you recall the first time you played with Michael Jordan when he arrived on campus?
Yeah, it was in practice. We always had, during the summers, and went to summer school, and we had pickup games, and everybody comes back. The classes before, Phil Ford, Dudley, all these guys came back, and Michael came that summer as well. And playing in those games, we saw a little glimpse of him, but he wasn't what he is now. You know, he wasn't majestical at that time, but playing in practice, we had a guy by the name, I don't know if you remember, Curtis Hunter. Mm-hmm. And he came before Michael, and they played the same position. But long story short, Curtis thought he was Michael Jordan at the time, but when Michael came there, it became a battle, and Curtis couldn't hang with him, let's say. So we thought we had a nice player in Curtis, but Michael just took head and shoulders over him.
How much better did he make you, both in the play on the court and what he was telling you off the court?
Well, I think, you know, a college player from now to where he is going in the Hall of Fame is a different person. But I think the one thing that you look at in his career, the things that he came into the league as his weaknesses were actually his strengths when he left. His ball handling, his outside shooting was strengths. So that just showed the testimony of how much he worked, how hard he worked.
Well, I suddenly
during the
went back
off-seasons,
looking like
when
that.
he used to
My
come
fault,
back to
yeah.
Carolina
The
and
bag
pick up with
faces
us in all of
is
those
fucking me
years.
up. You gonna go back, yeah. My fault.
Different
Back.
person, but I think the
People
one
in the
thing that
back.
you look at in his career, the things that he came into the league as his weaknesses were actually his strengths when he left. His ball handling, his outside shooting was strengths. So that just showed the testimony of how much he worked and how hard he worked during the off seasons and when he used to come back to Carolina and play pickup with us in all of those years. I think his enthusiasm and love of the game, and you can even see it in the interview, his reluctancy to accept greatness, but to be great is what makes him Michael Jordan. And is probably, if not the, getting smacked in the head. There it is last weekend. There it is, baby. There it is.
Him as a freshman, we played pickup games. I'd hit him with an elbow, and I'd bang him, and I could see some of the timidness in him. But, boy, by the time he got to be a sophomore, I can remember playing against him, and he hit me one time. I elbowed him in the chest, and he turned around and elbowed me right back in the chest and said, "I'm not scared of you anymore."
I did the running program before the season started. He says, "I want to be the best player." And I said, "Well, then you have to work harder than you did in high school." And he said, "Well, I worked as hard as everybody else." I said, "I thought you just told me you wanted to be the best player."
Michael got better and better every year. Every practice, every game, he grew with confidence, and you just saw it coming, and it was just a matter of time.
Every day in practice, when Coach Smith was talking, every player looked at Coach because of the respect, and they knew what they could get from him. But Michael looked right down into Coach Smith's soul.
But I do believe that Michael Jordan has something in his heart or something in his engine that very few athletes in history have.
The guy's got to win. That's it. He has to win, and I always credit that to being the youngest of three boys. And his dad would sit there and say, "All right, hey, you know, so what, Michael? You get picked on. Take care of yourself."
Sure, part of it was that he got cut by his team and didn't like it. I'm sure part of it was stoked by Coach Smith. You know, Coach Smith can stoke your fire, and you know, you'll either respond or you won't.
So I really think all of that competitive nature comes from Coach Smith and the way he kind of psychologically got us to go at each other as well as the other team and keep us so sharp. So all of those things that I hear Michael say that he does, I'm like, yeah, you got that from Coach Smith. You didn't think of these things. You weren't that competitive. You were just as like everyone else. But Coach Smith kind of put the seed in for him.
Here's Braddock, three-pointer. No good. Tapped in by Jordan. 63-62.
It was our sophomore year against Virginia. We were down 18 at halftime, I believe. We came back, and he made an unbelievable play on Rick Carlisle.
Jordan stole it. Here goes Jordan for the dunk. Oh!
And then a couple plays later, Virginia takes a shot, and he goes up over Ralph Sampson and grabs the rebound. But he just made big play after big play.
I remember one game where he went down the middle and dunked it after there'd been a little altercation between Ben Coleman and Matt Doherty. And a few minutes later, Michael's got the ball under his arm. We're in the four corners, and Herman Veal was supposed to be guarding him. Adrian Branch says, "Herman, go get him." And Herman said, "You want his blankety blank, you go get him."
I had really seen most of the things that this guy could do. 360s, cradling, rocking, but I had never seen that.
And in the locker room, he asked me, he said, I didn't want to watch what Michael did. He said, "What did he do?" And I said, "Coach, I can't describe it."
I kept hearing about it, so I did see it on the tape the next day, and it was sensational, and certainly it showed his ability. And I hope that Maryland didn't think it was too showy. I didn't. I kind of like seeing it.
Well, the first thing Coach Smith said was, one of the things was, "Well, I'm glad you made it." And the second thing he said was, "Do you know Kenny was ahead of you? Why didn't you pass it to him?" So that was the first two things that Coach said to him. The true Coach Smith fashion.
I said they'll remember it when we play them the next time, but then
That
they just
dunk
have to
was
do it
crazy.
better.
That shows his acrobatic
shooting
and
his
agility.
offensive. I was
Like,
more impressed with his
he's so
defense.
acrobatic, bro. When he I say it's Lil Unc in this thing. Michael Jordan is the GOAT now. I gotta put my GOAT crown because I'm here now, nigga. What is you talking about? Oh no, man. I said I don't know, man. We just got to get through the ad, man. I don't know.
Because when he said, "You know what? I have this whole side of the floor covered," he had the whole side of the floor covered. He was an exceptional shot blocker from the weak side in college, where guys would have layups or beat someone to the basket.
Even in the NBA, I've seen him do that a lot. I ain't gonna lie.
Layups, and you think they're layups or dunks, and he comes over and he would just, block shots. And early in especially in college, he used to block dunks. So I had never really seen guys go after other guys' dunks and be able to catch them in midair and choke the ball down.
He could guard a point guard, a two guard, a small forward, some power forwards if he had to. Michael was the best defensive player in the country, without question.
Would Michael become a great player if he'd gone somewhere else? Yeah, he would have. Would he have maybe done all the things that he's done? Maybe not, because I think Coach Smith has proven that he's helped players become great players. Not only just make it in the NBA, but great NBA players. And you look at the players' comments, they all give Coach Smith a lot of credit.
The greatest thing that Michael Jordan said about Dean Smith, he says that Coach Smith gave him the fundamentals to build the foundation that allowed him to expand and do so many other things with his game. And that's what Coach Smith did. Coach Smith wouldn't accept mediocre or sloppiness from anyone, but he pushed Michael, I think, harder than any player who ever played here.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and you can already tell that Michael Jordan stood out from the crowd. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, show love to the YG gang, and
And that's the end of this one, y'all. If y'all enjoyed this Michael Jordan reaction, man, make sure you click on the last Michael Jordan reaction on your screen right now. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. Make sure you like the video, comment, and subscribe. Tell me which one we should react to next. Turn on post notifications. Follow me on the gram at Lil Unc official, link in the description, man. Our Modell's affiliate link is also in the description. If you look at the shop at Modell's, man, use my link. It'll be greatly appreciated, and you'll be helping your boy out. And shout out to whoever sent the super thanks, man. Let me know in the comments if it was you. I appreciate you, man. And I'm out.